Oh, who are you? I'm you. From the future. Why are you here? You remember when you made an Alvin and the Chipmunks video? Yeah. It wasn't enough. Where I come from, the future. Everyone's forgotten about Alvin and the Chipmunks. Because of that, society's collapsed. No way. You have to make a video on Alvin and the Chipmunks and how they're amazing and relevant. And if you do that, you can save the world.
I'm getting paid, right?
Yeah, don't worry about it. We have Audible.
This video is sponsored by Audible. Go to audible.com/browntable or text Browntable to 500-500 to get 1 free audiobook and unlimited Audible original monthly downloads, absolutely free. So yes, what is Audible, you ask? Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs, news, business, and self-development. Thanks to it being an audiobook, you can listen on the go. Not just that, but they have exclusive audiobooks called Audible Originals that you can't find anywhere else. I'm currently listening to The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, which is available thanks to Audible and DC Comics partnering up. And hey, didn't like your audiobook? Exchange it, no questions asked. That's right, just go to audible.com/browntable or text Browntable to 500-500 to get 1 free audiobook and unlimited Audible original monthly downloads absolutely free. Okay, hear me out. I was on a journey of discovery. I was gonna watch all 4 Alvin and the Chipmunks movies and analyze them one by one, if they're good and if they're bad. But a crazy thing happened. They're mid. Alvin and the Chipmunks is mediocre. Alvin and the Chipmunks 2 is mediocre. Then finally, Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwrecked elicited an emotional reaction from me. I hated it with every fiber of my being. But then, I watched The Road Chip on my couch, tired, beaten by, Chipwrecked, of course, and lo and behold, cinema. In its purest form. Somehow, the 4th film in a franchise managed to outdo the first film. How? That's what I want to talk about. The film's trailers are some of the worst things I've ever seen, too. And I mean, all of the Chipmunks films are horribly advertised, complete with reused graphics and sound effects. But somehow, some way, this film managed to be something more than I was expecting. And you see, I watched Chipwrecked right before this movie, and man, that movie absolutely killed me in a bad way. It was awful. So maybe I had lowered my expectations when I watched Road Chip, right? What I'm saying is, I watched Road Chip twice. And I really enjoyed it both times.
What's wrong with you?
I know that's a bold claim, but now, let me convince you.
Alvin and his brothers are at it again.
My dad died when I was little, and I've done just fine without one.
It's nice to see Dave, really finding love.
Let's talk about what makes a good kids movie. A good kids movie isn't supposed to be full of dumb kiddie humor and zero mature themes. To me, a good kids movie is one that treats children with respect, knowing that they can handle mature themes and topics. It just never does anything overtly violent or risque, And surprisingly, this rodent film is incredibly nuanced. After 3 movies, The Road Chip wants to tell a story about something. This isn't a gimmick. This isn't, wow, female chipmunks. This isn't, wow, they're stranded on an island. This is a story about family, about bonding that can happen between people that don't know each other, and how love transcends species, essentially. The road trip the characters take only augments the story.
I would say it's a journey of self-discovery. They're discovering who they are, and who they are independent of Dave.
The characters are actually at the best they've ever been. It doesn't feel like Simon should be the actual main character for once. Alvin is straight up not as annoying as he usually is written. He's written more so like a hyperactive kid and not just an asshole that won't listen, which is great because that makes him more endearing and less unbearable.
Not tired. Still not tired. More awake.
Oh my god, shut the... A lot of road trip kids movies are pretty cringe. For example, Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul is all about a gimmick, a road trip. Alvin and the Chipmunks: The Road Chip can survive without a road trip element. The film is called The Road Chip, but do you know how long this road trip lasts? 20 minutes. The road trip in the Sonic movie lasts like 30-40 minutes. I say this because the film isn't relying on the road trip aspect, the marketing is. Since I was just speaking about The Long Haul, unlike The Long Haul, The Road Trip knows it's part of a franchise. It's the 4th film. It doesn't reboot itself with cringeworthy new actors. The film faces the reality of the world the Chipmunks are living in, 4 movies in. The previous films are wrestling with the weird in-between of being an average income family but also being super rich singing sensations. It makes no sense. This film does its best to make the Chipmunks semi-forgotten musical artists, while the Chipettes are in their prime, judging on American Idol. This allows the characters to feel much more relatable, and it also makes it feel like the characters are growing. The film actually takes place after 1, 2, and 3, and I love it for it.
Now, with whatever time has passed in the movie world from the third to the fourth, there's been a lot of changes with Dave's career, and the Chipmunks have grown up a little bit, and they aren't touring anymore. He wants them to continue living a relatively normal life for a little while.
It's like if Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul decided to be a sequel to the third film with the original cast, you know? Sorry, I'm still hung up on that movie. You know what everyone always talks about when talking about The Long Haul? Roderick. This isn't Roderick, right? But that begs the question, where did Roderick go? Alvin and the Chipmunks. My fucking god, I can't fucking believe I'm making this video. Alvin and the Chipmunks: The Road Chip introduces Miles, the son of Dave's girlfriend Samantha. And Miles is pretty much Roderick reincarnated. Devin Bostic would be proud.
Mi casa, su casa.
Gracias, David. Es muy generoso de tu parte ofrecernos tu casa.
I actually don't speak Spanish.
I'm not joking, Miles is great.
Dañas a nadie con su rutina del muchacho bueno.
Voy a convertirte en mi serviente personal.
But also, Miles is directly tied to the heart of the story and its message on parental figures and how much they affect the lives of their children. Miles' father left Miles when he was younger, and Miles hides this fact because he's insecure about this. He's dealing with it in his own way. He says his dad's dead, that it doesn't bother him, but it does bother him.
People look out for themselves.
I find your attitude insulting.
What, you think my dad was thinking about anyone other than himself when he left me and my mom?
He doesn't want Dave to marry his mom because he doesn't believe in the parental role model. His lack of respect for a father figure unnerves the Chipmunks, who in turn believe that Dave will forget about them when he marries Samantha.
If Dave and my mom do get married, they'll want to have their own kids. And you're not even Dave's real sons. Before you guys know it, you'll be back out in the forest. Holding your nuts.
And this is really an important thing for Alvin especially. With Alvin being the most independent out of the Chipmunks, he still considers Dave someone important in his life that he doesn't want to lose.
He's a good person. He would never bail on you.
Then why are you making this trip? Right.
And so it's nice to see, though, Dave really bonding with somebody and maybe making love work in his life. And Alvin, I think that poses a real threat to his dependence on Dave. They want a home, they want a family, and that's what Dave has always represented.
What's really great is that this premise is honed in perfectly, and it doesn't waver. The end of the film doesn't consist of the Chipmunks ruining Dave's engagement to Samantha. In fact, they weren't even getting engaged. The end of the film has a song and dance scene. And yeah, I know what you're thinking, that's super lame, right? But no, it actually has a purpose. This song, and honestly most of the songs in the film, push the story forward somehow, or reveal something about a character. And aren't just Alvin and the Chipmunks need to perform a song now. The song the Chipmunks sing at the end is an original song written for Dave, which also includes the Chipettes and Miles playing guitar to show that they're all in this together, and it's really sweet. So yes, they sing, haha, the end, yay. No, bitch, no. This isn't Chipwrecked, where the biggest problem was that the Chipmunks were gonna miss some show or whatever. The film's entire point is to talk about how families can form from anywhere, essentially. But being considered a family and actually being named one, written down as being one, is completely different. Alvin and the Chipmunks' last names are Seville, but only because Dave is caring for them. Like Miles said,
You're not even Dave's real sons. You're just a bunch of chipmunks that he calls his kids. Why do you think you guys are here and my mom's in Miami?
And again, this fear triggers the Chipmunks to start their mission to prevent Dave's engagement. It's not out of malice in any way, it's out of an uncomfortable dread of being alone. But as Miles warms up and Dave understands the situation, the film ends in the most quiet,
Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, do you agree to this adoption?
sincere
Adoption?
way
It's never been official, so I figured, let's make it official.
possible.
Chipmunks?
Yes.
More of this, please. The writers Randy Mayhem Singer and Adam Zitkiel, who by the way is writing Black Adam, I believe did a good job for what they were given, and the director Walter Becker knew exactly what he was doing when directing this film.
The journey of the movie is them finding their way into a sort of blended, loving family.
I am their dad. You know what I mean?
I don't know how Walt does it. Different people screaming things at him, telling him, do this. No, this is the thing. Here, can you check this out? Over here. We got a couple things about rehearsal. One thing. He's managed to keep the ship, floating well, and I'm all power to him. Walt is doing an incredible job.
The film is sincere, but also does a remarkable job at actually being funny, with probably the absolute best gag I've ever seen in a modern movie that blends real life with animation.
It's just a doll. He can twist. It even talks. I'm a dumb stupid head.
The film really pushes absurdist comedy.
Sorry, the batteries might be a bit low.
Ow! I'm a dumb stupid head!
Road Trip knows it's a movie about talking chipmunks, and it uses its insane premise to justify its insane sequences. This is especially true for the antagonist of the film, Suggs.
I'm breaking up with you.
What? A literal cartoon brought to life, this is an amazing replacement for Ian, the antagonist of the first two films. I was actually worried about not having Ian for this final film, but I'm glad that he wasn't there because then we got this dumb shit, which I adore. But most of all, I love the finality this film has. It actually kind of feels like it could be considered the end of the series, and I love that about it. I have no clue if there will be a sequel to The Road Chip, but if there is, I doubt that it can actually top this film. Not that this film is amazing in every way, but I do consider it to be one of the finer kids movies I've ever seen that isn't fully 3D animated and all that jazz. So yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but to me, Alvin and the Chipmunks The Road Chip is cinema. Scorsese approved. Thanks so much, Hollow Naruto 63, for the jazz fan art. Much love, man. Thank you very much. Alright, thanks so much for watching the video. I'm making an anime called Interstellar Ranger Commence. Check out the trailer and more in the description down below. There should also be a card popping up somewhere. And now it's time for the Patreon question of the video. So this one's by Jacob Juice, and the question is, what do you think of the VOD, video on demand situation? I don't like it because I'm afraid that people will watch the film in the wrong way, like seeing it with many breaks or watching it on a TV with the wrong setups like motion smoothing, or the very worst, seeing it on a phone. You just can't do that. What are your opinions on the topic? I think as big as a TV can be, it just isn't the same as being in a theater, and I do know people that are just on their phone sometimes during a movie, and yeah, motion smoothing really sucks for a lot of movies, it really does. But at the same time, at least in the US, I know that it's impossible. You can't be in a theater right now. It's just too dangerous. At least, thankfully where I live, it's actually not as bad, but if you live in like, say, Florida, just don't go to a theater. It is so insanely dangerous. Like if you look up the rates of people getting infected in Florida, it's like an upwards trajectory, at least at the moment. Hopefully, when this is all said and done, I hope we can all go back to theaters. And I hope that movies that do come out on digital eventually re-release in theaters. It's a sucky time to be both a filmmaker, I guess, and also a theater company. So thank you so much for the question. Thank you all so much for coming to the table, and I'll see you all next time.